Today, we have a special reason and occasion to be here. Let me introduce you to a hero tonight. A family of heroes, two sisters. The eldest sister lives in Europe, in Netherlands, and does volunteering for Ukrainian army and for the fighting unit of her younger sister, who's fighting at the very front line here in Ukraine as a combat medic. Today, both sisters are in our studio, Nastya and Veronika Mutsei. Hello, Nastya.
Hello.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm perfectly well. We're in a position to discuss it in English, but if you feel more comfortable, you're always welcome to talk Ukrainian.
Так.
Yes, I will be using Ukrainian language.
I have a question, the first question to you, Nastya. Combat medic, how come? What's the choice? It's a heavy choice. How did you come to it?
З чого почати, да? Мабуть, з того, що
Початку.
почалась війна.
I don't even know where to start, probably from the moment the war has begun. At first, as soon as the war started, I was very lost and didn't know what to do in this situation. I realized that I definitely won't leave Ukraine, but I also had to do something to help. The first thing I thought about was helping animals, because I've had experience helping stray animals before the war. But I really wanted to go to the army from the first day of the war. However, there were a few problems with that. First of all, I'm a girl with no military education and no medical degree. And overall, in our country, it's not so easy to get into the army and not so easy to get mobilized. Also, I'm now in my last year of university studying part-time. And so, since my degree is not completed, I can't be drafted. At first, like many others, I went to the territorial defense. It was very unclear what I have to do to get there. And they told me, "Hey girl, you better go cook something instead," and things like that.
Really?
Так, це було на початку війни.
Yes. It was at the beginning of the war, and then somehow things started to get going. My sister started working on the foundation, and I was helping her. But later, I finally decided that it was time to fulfill my dream of going to war, if it's correct to say so. I knew right away that I would be a combat medic, or I was also thinking about becoming a war journalist. But since a military reporter also needs a university degree in journalism, yes, you need a journalism degree. Yes, I managed to get into the combat unit as a medic. I thought at the beginning that killing a person would be very difficult for me. That's why I would not join an assault unit. My goal was to help save lives. Later on, my opinion changed a little bit, but we will talk about this later, I guess.
Okay. Veronika.
I'm here listening to you.
Right, great. It's nice to have you with us. Thank you very much. So, how did you end up in the Netherlands anyway?
Well, we're a couple of IT specialists, and
Right.
around 5 years ago, we decided to do the life change and the career switch and basically move to the Netherlands. So since then, I'm working as a technical solution architect in one of the big companies here in insurance field, and my husband is working as the developer in another company. So, and because of the career switch, we basically moved here.
I respect that. Veronika, I know that you are helping Ukrainian army to win this war. You are doing a lot of volunteer work, as you told me before. Are you helping the unit your sister is fighting in? Tell us more about what you're doing, about your fund and how it all started and how you are together doing the thing for Ukrainian army.
Well, I'm running a foundation which was basically intended the next day after the war started, and our main goal is to help both civilians and military people. We are bringing ambulances to Ukraine, and by this moment of the time we have brought 153 ambulances to the different places in Ukraine. We also are bringing a lot of medical equipment. We're bringing different supplies, starting from diapers, basically ending up with the fire trucks, because volunteering is everything. And answering on the question, do you help the military unit of your sister? Yes, we do. Because this is one of the parts why I'm working and why I have to continue working still. The support of Ukrainian army is one of the necessary things at this moment of the time, because you might saw that within 15 months of full-scale invasion, basically it would become better, right? But the supply chains, as they were broken in the first days of the war, they are still broken. And people, in order to protect my motherlands, Nesta's motherlands, their motherlands, they have to have a volunteer standing behind who will be helping them with the most complicated and unbelievable tasks.
So this is actually a question to me myself. I can't find the answer to it. I mean, I can, but each time the answer is different. What do you think is the difference between Russian and Ukrainian? I mean, in terms of mentality. In one point that is very crucial, that is the most important. What do you think is that crucial difference?
Я скажу 2 поінти, не один.
I will mention 2 points, not one. The first difference is something I noticed while being on the front line. Yeah, I guess you can call it a mental difference as well. Russians are just beasts. What I mean is that for them, human life has a much lower value than one captured building, for example. They easily sacrifice their own people, throwing them to battle like a slice of meat, like cannon fodder. They don't care about them. They don't even collect them afterwards. Yes, of course, we can see a lot of that on Telegram, Instagram, and other social media. But I saw this with my own eyes on the drone broadcast how a number of Russian soldiers went on the offensive against Ukrainian positions. Half of them were wounded, not killed, just wounded. Others just left them there and ran away. This is one situation that explains the big difference between Ukrainians and Russians in the war. If we talk about civilian life, there is something I thought about just yesterday. One of the most visible differences between Russians and Ukrainians is that Ukrainians can think critically. We don't eat whatever we are given on TV. You know what I mean. We analyze everything. Even me, whenever I read the news, I don't believe everything is written there 100%. I understand that we need to be thinking critically about everything that is happening right now because we are living in a wartime. And the Russians just believe everything they are being told by the media, that's it.
Veronika, do you agree or do you have something to say to the matter?
Yeah, I agree, but I would like to give an example, and then you most likely will feel the difference, right? So, if you remember the 2005, right, the Orange Revolution, which was happening in Ukraine, we were fighting for something. We were going on the streets, we were going on the squares. I was a little kid back then, but it gave a feeling of uniting the people around for the shared idea, for the shared future. And then let's take a look into the revolution of the dignity, right? So 2014, 2013. Basically, it started all with students. There were like 50 students standing on Maidan Square trying to protest against the pro-Russian future, trying to choose the direction of Europe for the whole Ukraine. They were beaten, they were captured, they were sent to jail. And the next day, there was 500 students standing over there. Again, the situation repeated. They were beaten, they were captured, they were sent to jail. Someone of them was killed already. And then the next day, it was 5,000 people standing there. Not only students, but people from all over Ukraine started to travel towards Kiev to protect their future and to build their own nation. And the day after, it was 1 million of people standing there. It could be, by some newspapers, it was considered 500,000, but I was there. It was 1 million. So this is the main difference that you can feel. Ukrainians are uniting all over the time. We have this state of mind. I think it was Gudimenko who stated in the beginning of the war that we have this state of mind of Maidan, when the whole country becomes one huge organism and basically one huge person that fights against everything which makes them uncomfortable at this moment of the time. So that's the main difference.
Lovely answer. Thank you. Nastya, I'm following your Facebook. We're Facebook friends. You had recently, or maybe not that recently, a concussion, right? Something happened. How are you feeling these days? Can you tell me the story behind it? What happened? Where did it happen? And how are you feeling these days today?
I'm smiling because I've had 3 concussions. And I'm thinking about which one to tell, which story was the most interesting and the most...
Yep, it's for you to choose.
Добре. Розкажу про останнє.
All right, let me tell you about the last one. It was literally a week ago, but it was light, so to speak. So I already feel fine. I just take vitamin B and that's it. So here is what happened. We had a mission with the guys to take out a wounded soldier. He had a head injury, and we had to take him out. And so we started going to the location. Just so that you can understand, 5 kilometers took us about 9 hours. Why? At first we got under the artillery shelling. I was going lost behind the rest of the group. Everyone else who was on the mission also got shell-shocked. And I was a team leader on that mission, so I was going lost. We were moving from shelter to shelter. Our positions are on the front line. Russian soldiers have left a scorched earth there. Later, when the front line moves a little bit and we will be able to tell you more about where we are, you will see what a horror it is there. Once there was a life in that place. But the Russian artillery just erased it. It's gone. There is such a specific smell there that if a civilian ever senses it, they will never forget the smell. It's just the smell of death. And so I was most likely contused when I was walking away from the artillery. But when you are lightly or moderately injured, it takes 1 to 3 days to realize it. And it was the same for me. You can see even your pupils looking as if you've tried all the drugs in the world while sitting in that basement. So we came back from the mission. Everything was fine, thank God. We got the soldier out. And this mission in general was without casualties, which was incredible in my perspective because the mission was very dangerous. And then at some point I just forgot the name of my commander. Someone told me that he was looking for me and I just asked, "Who is this?" That's when I realized that I was contused again.
You're telling me the story. I'm starting to forget my own name, so it's not even a bit strange. You forgot the name of your commanding officer.
І це просто третя моя контузія.
This is my 3rd contusion. Before that, my 2nd contusion was the most severe. It's hard to explain how it felt, but basically it exposed my nervous system. And it became very hard to keep everything to myself. Since you have to be steely like a warrior, and you can't show your feelings. You can go crying to a pillow after the mission. But on a mission, panic is the first thing that will kill you. And so after my 2nd contusion, I was told that if I get a 3rd one, I'll just become a fool for the rest of my life. And I told them, how can I become a fool? I was born a blonde. That's it, there's no way it can be worse. And they said, no, it will get worse. Then I prayed to the God and said, okay, if it will happen again, then you'll see.
You, Nastya, are my personal admiration and a Valkyrie. But this is, we can discuss this later on. Veronika. The Netherlands has always been, in a vast majority, pro-Ukrainian. Have you ever come across in your country those who support Russia?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm just like, sorry, I'm still processing the story before because I didn't hear about the 3rd concussion. So I know already about 2. Well, now I know about 3 of them. Okay. Yeah. So coming back to the Netherlands, basically, there was a beautiful initiative from the Vrijheid Museum, Freedom Museum of Groesbeek, which is a tiny town next to the German border. And what they have done, they basically brought a shut Russian tank T-72B from Kiev region to the exposition of the museum because they set up the team of Ukraine for the whole year. And you know what was happening? The police was there every single day because Russians from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Belgium, from all over the countries, they were coming to the tank. Well, when we were given a tour of a shot Ukrainian ambulance in 12 cities in the Netherlands, we've been facing different opinions of the people. But mostly, for the first time in their life, they were coming to the central square. So just imagine you're going through through the city, and on the central square you see a shut Ukrainian ambulance which was shelled with Grad missile, and people, they could not believe that it's actually happening. And they were like, yeah, we were telling before. There were a couple of really very inspiring stories. They were thinking before that we shouldn't support Ukraine because it's just it's basically the fight for the territory or something else. But when they saw the war crimes which were committed in Ukraine, they changed their opinions. They said to us that no matter what, but we need to continue supporting Ukraine.
Are you telling me that you have literally met people who changed their mind, who were pro-Russian and then they turned into pro-Ukrainians, or at least pro-European?
They were not actively pro-Russian in the beginning. They were struggling with finding their place in the war, right? So they didn't have enough information. They probably were not looking through all the news from both sides to understand what is really happening in Ukraine. But then they saw the ambulance, and they were like, it's unbelievable what people could do in the 21st century, and we will start supporting Ukraine.
My question to you, Nastya. After the war and the victory of Ukraine, that is absolutely coming, where do you see yourself? What are you going to do?
Перше, що хочеться сказати, це те, що
The first thing I would like to say is that people in the military rarely think about what will happen after the victory. We live from mission to mission and don't plan anything after that. We even have a little bit of a belief that if you have too much plans after the next mission, you will die. That's why everything is decided after the mission. So thinking about what will be after the victory is too far away for us. All you have is your life. One day, one wrong step or a turnstile can decide everything. Do you know how many incredible people die in those fields? A lot. And these people deserve not only to live their lives, but to live 5 more lives. They don't have this opportunity anymore. They cannot convey their messages to you. They can't because they are lying dead in the fields of Donbass, Luhansk, Kherson and so on. So the only thing that matters after the victory is that everyone finds themselves, lives and develops Ukraine. And if they don't like something, let them go where they like. Regarding myself, unfortunately, I can't say where I see my place after this war.
Right. I'm going to ask the studio to show you this. You are so beautiful. And you, Nastya, are my personal admiration, as I already told you. You are a Valkyrie. I'm literally in love with you. What you do is absolutely heroic. But when you're coming to Kiev, you feel safe today. And don't you feel that syndrome of a survivor, if you know what I mean? Don't you miss your guys, your friends, your brothers and sisters on the front line? Don't you want to come back?
зараз це, напевно, таке.
At the moment, it's probably the most frequently asked question, the one that I think about as well. And it's not just about Kyiv, right? Even Kharkiv, which is closer to the front line. As soon as you get it there, to the civilization, you instantly want to go back. Lately, we stopped going to Kharkiv that much, only if there is something urgent that needs to be done as soon as possible. For example, to take the car to the mechanic. And only in such cases we go to Kharkiv, because you feel like an alien there. You just...
You take my luck if you need, because I absolutely admire what you do. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish you health and luck. And I can't help myself from crying, really. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, dear sisters, ladies. It was lovely to hear you and to see you. Hope to see you soon in person and online on UATV.